So the iPhone 17 Pro Max is the second best phone of 2025. In this episode, I'm going to tell you why and how I came to the conclusion that this is the second best phone of 2025. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Now, recently I did a video titled the S25 Ultra, why it's the best phone of 2025. And a lot of people agreed, a lot of people disagreed, and that's okay. That's why we're making these videos, to have some fun, to have a conversation about tech and smartphones. So let's go ahead and discuss why I choose the 17 Pro Max as not number one, but the number two best. Now, I do have a lot of areas where the iPhone 17 Pro Max is going to be besting a lot of other phones out there, which it does. But as a total overall package, I just felt like I would be lying to myself if I said this was the best phone of the entire year. When we look at the hardware and the feature set and the overall package that is coming to a lot of the competitors on the market today. So let's start with the very first one, which is battery life excellence. Now, this phone easily is going to be up at the top of the game for battery life. I mean, it just tends to last and last and last. Now, if you're wondering why does this not hit the number one spot, and that's because of phones like this, the OnePlus 15. Now, this phone right here gives me a silicon carbon battery of over 7,300 milliamp hours. So if I go down in here, I'll show you right here, and it's not just a spec sheet. This is actually in real life performing significantly longer than that of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So how can I sit here and say this is the top phone in battery life when it clearly is being beat by a competitor that costs a few $100s less than this device? It just wouldn't be making sense. But it's still going to go number two of the entire year as my second best phone, because the other things in this package do put it above other smartphones out there, including the OnePlus 15. So let's talk about the number two thing, which is its excellent peak brightness on the panel. So this panel can hit 3,000 nits of outdoor brightness. It's absolutely insane how bright this panel can get. It also does have very nice anti-reflective properties, so it's pretty glare free for the most part. And the display is sharp, it's large, it's nearly 7 inches, so it's one of the largest, most well-calibrated display on the market today. So I definitely love its overall display colors. The bezels are super thin, it's super bright, and so for that reason, this is definitely going to go at the top of the game for me with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Number three is its clean and polished software. App library over here, we do have liquid glass, and some people have even commented, I've only bought an iPhone just to play around with liquid glass. That's how nice it kind of looks. And I agree with them. It's definitely a really nice looking software. Nobody really tends to look this way, but I do feel like, you know, the way things go, they're probably going to start copying some of these elements within liquid glass and on the competitor's side. But generally, the software is polished, it's smooth, it operates very nicely, and it's kind of what you're used to at the core as well of iOS. Like if you've been using iOS a long time, the iOS experience is still kind of the same thing, even while having a fresh paint job with liquid glass. So definitely that is something to note. And also when you combine this with the ecosystem, the clear icons, the Mac, the Apple Watch, I mean, this stuff just all goes, it just plays so nicely together compared to other platforms and the way it syncs and stuff like that. So definitely, I think from a software standpoint, there are areas where, you know, the S25 Ultra is better, where the OnePlus 15 is better, where the Pixel is better. But overall, it's still a clean and very polished looking software. That's for sure. Now, this one also has pretty decent AI, but it's nowhere near the competition. So how could I sit here and say this is the best one of the year when we have phones like this, the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL, which is a truly smarter smartphone? I mean, this is still in beta for Apple Intelligence, but the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL having integration with Gemini on board. In addition to that, it's just from the core built up from AI. While it doesn't have the fastest chip in the world, this is the phone you want if you want a truly smart smartphone. It's just deeply integrated within the software of the Google Pixel. Even the zooming camera is a super res AI zoom, which allows AI to kind of analyze the image and get a sharp image that you would ever expected from the zoom on here. So the Pixel 10 Pro XL is no joke. All pixels away, one one thing away from being even better is a faster chip. If they can find a way to get a much faster chip competing on a hardware standpoint to these chips, then it would be up there. But we do have ourselves a nice integrated Siri. I do actually quite like visual intelligence on here. If we go ahead and hold down the camera control button right here, it's actually rather useful. The integration with the ChatGPT is rather nice. But if I go ahead and click right here, you can type to Siri. It just kind of feels like they're just adding on the integration with ChatGPT, and they do have the rewrite tools and summarizations in Safari, which is useful. But generally, I find that there's more AI features in something like the Galaxy S25 Ultra. There's more AI features within the Pixel 10 Pro XL. So this is just kind of like, to me, feeling quite a bit behind in that department. Even though they do have quite a few in here, it definitely can't get the win in the AI section. Now, one area it does get the win and why it definitely bests all the competition is the storage options. Mine is actually the starting storage because I don't actually care about having the top storage, but you can get this phone with up to a ridiculous 2 terabytes of storage. So if you are looking for a way more storage than what I got here, 256 gigs, you can definitely go ahead and pick that up. So I think the S25 Ultra tops out at like a terabyte, and they don't even let you expand memory no more. You could get cloud storage on pretty much any phone, but 2 terabyte option is the real deal for creatives out there and people who want to like store a bunch of photos and stuff like that. So definitely playing up there. Number 5 reason why this is second best phone for sure is the looks. Two-tone design. Yes, the camera plateau is questionable for some people. Some people don't love that they went back to aluminum, but it feels smooth. It feels premium. It feels nice in the hand. It's nice to hold in the corners. But I do still feel like the S25 Ultra being titanium, sticking with that, still kind of feels a little bit more premium metal. However, this just feels super nice to hold in the hand. The edges are flat on these sides, but then up at the corners, super soft aluminum in the hand. So a lot of people are going to feel reminiscence of the iPhone 7 days with this device. So definitely something to keep in mind of. Number 6 is the syncing between this phone and things like Apple Watch Series 11, the AirPods, the Mac, the iPad. I've talked about this before, but there just seems to be the least friction when doing this between the different products. The con is that you have to invest a lot of cash into the system to get all of those products. Once you do, though, you're kind of set with a super efficient and productive ecosystem. Now, Samsung's doing a really good job with the Galaxy Tabs. They have the Buds. They have the, quite a bit of few options, Galaxy Watch options as well. Ultra watches, fitness watches. They even have some tracker style. I think they're like a Fit. So they got even smaller watches as well. They got laptops, but they kind of use Windows, and that's the friction point for me is Windows, because that's kind of like Microsoft software. And Android is definitely a Google software as well, Linux based, but at the same time, the overall top to down integration is still better to me on the 17 Pro Max. It's a really strong lock-in effect, I feel like, for 17 Pro Max, and while still having some beautiful hardware right here. So seamless syncing and ecosystem. Number 7 reason why this is definitely going to go at the top is the better cameras. And this is one of its strongest suits, and why, even though the Pixel's smarter, the OnePlus is faster, this phone still goes number 2, and that's the camera. This is a very important feature of a smartphone, and having the best ultra-wide front-facing camera and pretty good quality on the front. This phone right here is just, it's really beaten most of the competition in this department. Even if it has a triple 48 megapixel, the actual results that you produce from here are super consistent. The video always looks amazing. It's really one of the best, if not the best, camera out there for maybe shooting videos for social media and stuff of that sort, or just shooting family photos and videos. You're just going to have such a consistent, nice result on each of them. And they do some post-processing that make it look pretty nice. Google Pixel is up there in the photos, even beating this phone in multiple departments. But I just think as an overall, camera system, this is one of the best you can pick on the market today for sure. One area this still is besting the competition too is MagSafe. You're even seeing the Pixel Snap on the Pixel now, so they kind of took that feature as well on this device. You can get cases to make your other phones kind of like snap on to MagSafe stuff, but this is a true MagSafe device, and that is I think it's a real victory for this phone. We also do have a faster chip than a lot of Androids, but mostly more efficient too, with the Apple A19 Pro chip clocked in at 4.26 gigahertz with 12 gigabytes of RAM. The real benefits of the A19 is its efficiency. It's super efficient with battery life. Performance is good, but Apple goes with the more visually pleasing animations as we talked about before. So it kind of just gives it it doesn't feel as snappy as it could if they would make the overall phone less visually animated. But at the same time, the phone's gaming performance, thermal efficiency, extremely strong here. You hear about them talking about it in the ads leading up to the device launching, and it's not false marketing. It definitely does perform very strong. In the real world, though, Samsung devices are actually snappier. Like, they feel faster to scroll, they feel faster to launch things, and they do have true multitasking, which the iPhone doesn't have. So, I can't just call this the best thing ever when phones actually feel a little faster than this. But the A19 is a true beast. Now, at number 10 is the better resale value. And this is a strong point for those of you who keep your phone in good condition and you are going to trade it later to upgrade later, which a lot of people do. These phones are built to last 6-7 years, but let's be real. Most people don't keep them that long. Maybe most people keep them about 3 to 5 years. Nowadays, pushing closer to the 5-year mark. So this is definitely going to be very strong with the consistency of software updates over that time. But a lot of other competitors are getting longer support than ever, including the OnePlus, the Pixel, the Samsung. So it's not really like the biggest deal in the world, but that resale value truly is. So this definitely is going to way out resale most of the competition. Samsung is improving, especially if you trade back to Samsung themselves, and Pixel as well. If you trade back the Pixel to the next Pixel, they're going to give you a healthy amount on that trade and provided it's in good condition. But it's just not on the actual market. When you sell it to somebody directly, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you going with those competitors. The iPhone is going to win it out there for sure. Now, let's just go ahead and give you a few reasons why. You're probably wondering, well, you've been praising it. Well, what's the real reason why you picked the number 2? I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. From a raw camera hardware perspective, there's still no 200 megapixel zoom like on a Samsung. There's no 100 times. The feature set is still, a little bit more versatile for the Samsung phone. We do have the 200 megapixel we talked about there, log recording right in camera. So, I mean, from a raw camera hardware perspective, Samsung seems to be offering a little bit more fun to use features. While it is a camera they've been using the sensor for a while, it's still got that 100 times. Pixel as well with their 100 times zoom on their camera has been awesome, and the AI processing to me is a little bit ahead of the iPhone there, although the video is still stronger for the iPhone. Benchmark wise, the Samsung actually out benchmarks the iPhone in the 3D Mark Wildlife, which is to me saying a lot because this phone came out several months ago, yet it's still bested the iPhone 17 Pro Max when it comes to the graphics score. So to me, that's a win for the competition right here, not for iPhone there. So I like to see them best everybody in the graphics next time as well. Also, I'm going to be comparing mostly here again to the S25 Ultra because it was the one that won Best Phone of the Year. S Pen is a versatile productivity feature that I feel like could have been on an iPhone or as an option for a while here. They could have called it the Apple Pencil for iPhone or something. For most people, that's not a real big pro. But for me, it sets this phone apart because it actually is a really good stylus. It's not as good as the S24 Ultra, though, because it does have the Samsung S25 Ultra got rid of the Bluetooth, so I don't like that. But still, it offers S Pen. This one doesn't. This is not the fastest charging phone in the world, although it is faster than previous iPhones, and it's not a big deal for most people. Let's be real. The OnePlus 15 has incredibly faster charging than this phone and longer cycles, supposedly, according to my research. So if we take a look here too, one screen at a time on this phone. I mean, I can't do any type of split screening, which is really weird to me considering the size of this phone is actually bigger than most of the competition, but there's no way to actually split it, pop view windows, anything like that. So where is the multitasking? It's just not available here. Other phones like the S25 Ultra are promising 7 years of updates, whereas we don't have an actual promise from Apple. We do expect 6 to 7 as well. The Samsung is promising 7 years, so they might actually exceed them in that department if Apple decides to make some sweeping changes to the hardware and then they just no longer update the device. So I do think Samsung might actually go past Apple here if they only go 6 years of support on this one, which is really weird because usually Apple's always updating phones much longer than the competition. This phone actually has been a little bit less consistent as well than the competition. Sometimes I get some weird app crashes. It's not very frequently, but I do tend to get a few weird app crashes on this phone. They're pretty rare. They almost never happen. But when they do, it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, did that really just happen? And then yes, it does. I mean, I know it sounds like first world problem, but still, it happens occasionally. The Samsung also have better anti-reflective properties. While this one does have a nice one, Samsung's phone has even better anti-reflections than the iPhone over here. The build materials are nicer on some of the competition and better value prices for the majority of the time. Throughout the year, you'll be finding discounts on the S25 Ultra. OnePlus already starts multiple hundreds less than this phone. Pixel's doing a holiday sale right now. You're getting this phone significantly less. So you're always getting a better deal on the competition at the front end. On the back end, like we talked about, resale value is better. So the areas that the iPhone beats the Ultra are not by a mile. That's why I couldn't put it at number one. While it does have better battery life and real world experience, it's still enough on the Ultra to still put it number one. This phone also does have the, better, you could say more polished looking software, but it doesn't have the overall customization aspects. It doesn't have as many AI features, and you could make the Samsung look pretty clean as well without overdoing it with some weird customizations that won't make it look as nice. So definitely, I don't think the software itself is enough unless you're like really tied into iMessage, FaceTime, and stuff like that. I don't think it's enough to put it as the top best phone of the entire year. I just don't feel like it's an honest assessment saying that. But it definitely remains number two to me. I think that they were just a couple things away from not making it number one. I honestly think if this had split screen, I probably would have put it number one. That's one of my most biggest cons. I would have probably put it number one. But yeah, it's definitely playing at the top of the game for 2025. It's my second best choice. The S25 Ultra does have some cons to this phone. I'm not going to kid with you. Like it definitely doesn't have my favorite battery life in the world. But when I look at it and I hold it side by side, and I see what I could do with S Pen, and I see that it looks a little bit bigger, even though it's not really. It has titanium, the camera. I just like the versatility. I just feel like this has more to offer, and for that reason, this is going at number two. So let me know if you agree, disagree. I always kind of like either go with iPhone for the year or Samsung for the year for the best phone award. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section of this video. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.